Hello folks, and listen, I don't typically like to do this, but most channels already do, so I figure I might as well start. If you enjoy the content that we deliver here at Speed Station and you want to try helping out, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you want. All of this helps our channel grow tremendously, especially with the metrics. And I can't put to words how grateful I am for the support that we already receive. It's kept us going this long, and it will keep us going well into the future. And if you're really feeling generous, we have an active Patreon and PayPal donation page up if you would like to give this channel a monetary boost, which would be tremendously appreciated, and continue to further our efforts into the future. One more thing. If you think that I'm just sitting around during the time in between the videos here on Speed Station, you couldn't be more wrong. Join the Discord. All these links, by the way, are in the description. Check out behind-the-scenes activity and get a better idea of what I'm working on during day-to-day operations on our Discord server. Get to talk directly with me as well, because I'm always active on that thing. That's how I spend my time in between. So, just to reiterate, we tremendously appreciate the amount of support that we've gotten already. And we'd like to see this channel continue to grow and be able to deliver even better content into the future. Anyways, let's get into the actual video here, since I've wasted enough of your time already.
It's the most powerful show on television. High drama, with intense energy. A show dedicated to a few brave souls who risk their lives for the sake of their craft. Its in-depth reporting goes to the core and unlocks the mysteries behind today's raciest sport. Motorsports. Catch it when you can.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Post Tech. Today we move on to episode number 20, coming off of a big weekend of action at the action track, Richmond Raceway, the 3/4 mile in Virginia. So obviously we've got a lot of big news to break over the course of today's edition of Post Tech, but first let's start off with the biggest story exiting Richmond as we now head in to the last off week of the NASCAR Cup Series of the 2021 season before we begin the final 11 race slog, I guess you could say, from Daytona to the checkered flag at Atlanta for the championship. And the big story is how much that regular season point battle has closed up between Logano, Harvick, and Hamlin with just one race remaining in the regular season, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. Logano took over the point lead in the Toyota Owners 400 after Kevin Harvick struggled all night long. They could not get a handle on the racetrack. But more importantly, Kevin Harvick on his last pit stop, they pitted for tires while most of the field stayed out, and they pitted to try and get off cycle and try to potentially make a charge at the end of the race with those fresh tires. Well, they beat themselves on the final pit stop by speeding, which forced him to serve his penalty, and he dropped one lap down in the process. So it was a poor finish for the number 4 team. Not too many DNFs. That was the real thing that they struggled with. If there would have been a lot of cars that dropped out of the race, wouldn't have been such a bad deal being a lap behind the leader, because you would have still had the opportunity to, number 1, leapfrog the cars that were a lap down, and number 2, finish ahead of those who dropped out. But we had a lot of incidents, but not too many cars DNF. So it was a bit of a struggle for the number 4 team. And in the process, Joe Logano now holds a 3-point margin above Kevin Harvick in regular season points. Very, very slim. Hamlin even closed the gap as well to now just 17 points off Logano. So 3 contenders separated by just 17 points coming into one of the most unpredictable races on the schedule at Daytona. The regular season championship battle will be must-watch event in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway. While we have all that action for the top of the regular season point standings, don't forget about the battle for the top 30. Right now, Kaz Gralla and Harrison Burton set above that top 30 line and have wins on the season. But mathematically, they could drop outside of that top 30 at Daytona with a DNQ or DNF and lose their playoff eligibility. On the other side of that top 30 line, because that's the ones contending above it, now we go below it, the ones really in trouble. We have Magnussen, Bilicki, and Christopher Bell all in mathematical contention of racing their way into that top 30 in the final race at Daytona. On a side note, full-time competitor Anthony Alfredo, who won at Sonoma Raceway, is in fact outside of mathematical contention for a top 30 position, so he will not participate in this season's playoffs. It was still a very impressive performance for them to take their first win together at Sonoma Raceway. The monetary gain from it, the exposure, has been big for that team this year, but they will not compete in the 2021 playoffs. We already know that. They can't make it in on points already coming into the final race of the regular season. But right now, we have 15 drivers locked into the playoffs, only one spot up for grabs via points. But this battle for the top 30 is so dynamic that theoretically we could have 19 drivers locked in following the Coke Zero Sugar 400. That would be if Logano wins the regular season championship, we get a new winner, and every mathematical winner that is under the top 30 line makes it into that top 30. Obviously, only 16 are allowed into the playoffs, so it would become a battle for points among those who have just one win on the season to determine the final few playoff spots. Not to mention the battle for the final spot on points if we continue to have 15 guaranteed spots taken. Boyer, Keselowski, and Eric Jones are the only drivers that can mathematically do it on points under the current scenario. Obviously, Logano would be on that list if he wasn't the regular season point leader currently. Clinton Boyer, on the other hand, has a 30-point lead above the cutoff line at the moment. So if it comes down to just points, he can feel somewhat comfortable about that margin. But if more of the top 30 contenders race their way into the playoffs, he will be outside of the playoffs unless he wins at Daytona. But at the same time, the situation's so dynamic and we could have so many scenarios that we could have all the top 30 contenders mathematically drop outside of the top 30 and 3 spots be taken up through points. So with this many possibilities, just one race left, this is going to make the Coke Zero Sugar 400 a spectacle unlike any other that we've seen possibly in NASCAR Cup Series history, with all this action going on across the field. Now on to just a note of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series news. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be attempting the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at Myrtle Beach Speedway in the Myrtle Beach 200 that you're going to see later on in this broadcast. It's actually his Camping World Truck Series debut, so there's going to be rookie stripes on the back of the number 29 truck. You'll be seeing him driving the 29 Hellman Chevrolet for Brad Keselowski Racing. As you may recall, Earnhardt Jr. was a key figure in launching Brad Keselowski's career, so this is just their relationship going full circle, with now Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving for Brad Keselowski. Kind of like how Kevin Harvick used to employ Tony Stewart at KHI, and now Tony Stewart owns Kevin Harvick at Stewart Haas Racing. But speaking of Stewart Haas Racing, let's get into the real meat of the sandwich here in today's edition. Tony Stewart, Gene Haas held a press conference at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, finally confirming the consistent rumors of a split between the two parties. Stewart citing critical philosophical differences in team management and developmental programs, likely referring to how Stewart Haas Racing lost both Briscoe and Suarez to Starcom Speed Station, and those two have gone on to score a combined 7 wins with their new team over the last 2 years. And current SHR prospects Cole Custer and Riley Herbst, they haven't shown much success at all at this point. You know, Cole Custer was obviously a very strong contender in the Xfinity Series, but once he moved up to Cup, that kind of dropped off, and Herbst hasn't really shown anything in NASCAR's Xfinity Series as of yet. Haas's number 10 and 41 teams have lagged behind Stewart's number 4 and 14 teams, so odds are Stewart sees more opportunity in working without Gene Haas as a partner. However, Stewart and Haas have confirmed that the split was a mutual agreement between both parties. The separation effectively splits the team in half to operate separately. The 4 and 14 under Stewart's team, which is forming a whole new operation. The 10 and 41, which the number 41 is likely going to get renumbered because that's a Stewart number, are being owned by Gene Haas. They're going to stay in the current SHR shop. The 4 and 14 will be operated out of Tony Stewart's current shop that houses the TSR Camping World Truck Series team. Also present at the press conference was former championship-winning crew chief and race-winning car owner Ray Evernham, who partnered with Stewart to form the Superstar Racing Experience last year. Citing their recent friendship and business partnership in that venture, Evernham has announced that he will be the co-owner of Tony Stewart's NASCAR Cup Series operation, operating under the name of Stewart Evernham Racing. They are also leaving Ford Performance behind, likely due to the fact that they're basing their future around GM's top prospect, Sam Mayer, because they certainly wanted him, as you can tell by TSR starting up a Chevrolet program in the Truck Series just to field him, as well as Tony and Ray's long-standing relationships with Chevrolet. Ray's success at Hendrick Motorsports, Tony's for years with Joe Gibbs Racing when they fielded Chevrolets and Pontiacs, and then Stewart Haas Racing running Chevrolets for a number of years. But Stewart Evernham will campaign Chevrolet Camaros for the 2022 season. They have yet to announce the particular engine supplier, however. The new engine package from Ilmor, which will be used by the cars at Starcom Speed Station, looks to be the likely candidate for the Xfinity Series and Cup Series engine programs of the new Stewart Evernham Racing. Gene Haas, his two-car program will operate under the name of Haas CNC Racing, which is bringing back the old team's name before Tony Stewart's partnership in it started in late 2008. They will continue to work with Ford Performance, fielding Ford's new GT500 for the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season. Clinton Boyer and Austin Dillon were present for a very important announcement of their own. Austin Dillon will take over the number 14 now at Stewart Evernham Racing, replacing the retiring Clinton Boyer for a multi-year deal. Dillon brings his Wrangler sponsorship to the number 14 car and will also have representation from Bass Pro Shops. Not to mention continued sponsorship from iRacing and Rush Truck Centers from Clint Boyer's connections over the course of his racing career. RCR has confirmed that they will obviously be letting Austin Dillon go at the end of the season. They have not yet confirmed who is his replacement. Whether or not we'll see the number 3 car on track next year, that would only be if Ty Dillon drives the car. We don't know if that's going to happen yet. RCR will likely give an announcement on their replacement driver in the next few weeks to a month from now, because obviously they do not seem to be very concerned with making the announcement quickly. Kevin Harvick has confirmed his return to the number 4 car in 2022, which will be his return to Chevrolet, obviously driving for Stewart Evernham Racing, as his contract was to Tony Stewart's number 4 car. His contract runs to the end of 2023, so he will drive the number 4 at Stewart Evernham for at least the next 2 seasons. Harvick will receive continued sponsorship from Busch Beer and his other personal sponsors at KHI, such as Hunt Brothers Pizza and Morton Buildings. Jimmy Johns will be leaving him at the end of the season, however, and he has gained competitor sponsorship from Subway for the full 2022 season. That actually answers a couple questions we got sent in to Speed Station about what his sandwich sponsor will be next year. So both Stewart Evernham cars will be fully funded. Kevin Harvick went on to additionally announce that he will be reopening KHI, Kevin Harvick Incorporated, as a NASCAR Xfinity Series and Camping World Truck Series program for the 2022 campaigns. He will take over the operations of the current Tony Stewart Racing Truck Series program and run it under the KHI banner, while starting up their own Xfinity Series team from scratch. KHI programs in both the Camping World Truck Series and NASCAR Xfinity Series will utilize Fury Racing chassis, which also develops the chassis for obviously a lot of Trans Am programs, club racing, but the Superstar Racing Experience. That's where the connection comes in between Evernham, Stewart, and Harvick. So that's why KHI will be utilizing Fury Racing chassis just as TSR does in the Truck Series as we speak. They will run the number 33 for Sam Mayer full-time in the Xfinity Series, as he has been granted an early release from his JRM deal. Starting next season, Josh Berry will take over the driving duties of Earnhardt's number 8 car full-time in the Xfinity Series. The number has not yet been announced for the Camping World Truck Series program that KHI will run, neither has the driver. Current rumors obviously point to Ryan Preece, who KHI manages, to potentially be their full-time drivers. He has expressed interest in running full-time in the Camping World Truck Series. Odds are they would continue to utilize the number 14 for the 2022 Camping World Truck Series season as well. Haas CNC Racing will hold an additional press conference at Daytona International Speedway announcing their full plans for 2022, and that's an all-series that they intend on competing in. However, they did confirm that Cole Custer will be returning to whatever number that they will run that car in next season, because odds are it will not be 41, because that's the inverse of the number Tony Stewart ran for so long, a tribute to A.J. Foyt initially, but I doubt them running 41 after this separation. They will likely announce their partners, sponsorship partners, that sort of thing, and their second driver at their press conference at Daytona, as it has been confirmed for a while that Eric Almirola is not going to return to their operation next season. Almirola's announcement looks to be pointing towards ThorSport from all sources that I've heard, but they have yet to confirm it. I'm imagining a confirmation press conference being held in the next week or two. All rumors point towards Riley Herbst returning for the number 98 car in NASCAR's Xfinity Series as well, due to the Monster Energy sponsorship. Obviously, that ride likely will be taken by a name like, say, Hailie Deegan or so in the next few years, but Riley Herbst will likely return to it in 2022 at the very least. He brings a lot of sponsorship money, and that's a very critical want, to say the least, of Gene Haas's racing programs. He seems to be unsponsored a lot in most of his ventures. He needs that type of sponsorship. You don't want to have to put the name Haas on all your race cars. It shouldn't be something that you have to do, but unfortunately for their organization, they typically have to spend a lot of races unsponsored in that regard. The top candidate for Haas's second car right now, which would likely stay number 10, is currently William Byron, as he looks to be leaving Hendrick Motorsports at the end of the season. Tony Stewart will remain committed to his obligations at Stewart Haas Racing and will honor those commitments until the end of the year, so December 31st of 2021. January 1st of 2022, he will move over to the new Stewart Evernham shop, which currently houses the TSR Camping World Truck Series program, and he will focus on day-to-day operations of his new team, obviously co-owned with Ray Evernham. This will slightly delay their operations on the next generation car, their preparation for the 2022 season. However, Ray Evernham is going to look over those preparations from now until Tony Stewart can contractually join the team and start focusing on those day-to-day operations, because he has a lot of commitments to fill, to say the least, at Stewart Haas Racing until that partnership is officially split and he can work on building up this new program with Ray Evernham. All of these announcements will have a major impact on the entire outlook of the field, and hopefully it will benefit both parties as much as they believe that it will. Everyone wants to see the Cup Series field get more competitive. It makes the action on track better, and if these moves lead to greater competition up front in NASCAR's Cup Series, then it's a win-win for not just the teams, but for the fans as well. So we wish both parties the best of luck for the end of the season, trying to win a championship together for the final time, and also next year operating as competing organizations. Also, the next-gen testing schedule for Daytona International Speedway has been announced for the next week at, obviously Daytona prepping for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. They have billed Stewart Haas Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, Team Penske, and Hendrick Motorsports all to participate, with the goal of having every single car present on track running in a pack to fully get a test of the super speedway drafting effects of the next generation car. How stable that thing is, how it drafts up on others, is bumper locking a possibility with the rounded rear bumpers without causing a massive incident. They'll likely figure that out not in the group test, but in more like two-car tests just to see if they are possible. I don't think that tandems will be a possibility with this new car, but still, that's what the purpose of testing is. So, NASCAR believes that they have found satisfactory data with multi-car testing, but they are still lacking a substantial amount of super speedway data, getting a lot of cars running in a pack. Drivers present in the test include Kevin Harvick, Cole Custer, Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Brandon Jones, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, Joe Logano, Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney, and Austin Cindric. Obviously, Cindric being picked out of the Wood Brothers Racing stable just to complete the 4 cars for each organization. So the best of the best will test the next generation of NASCAR Cup Series car at the sport's biggest stage, Daytona International Speedway, and this will be the record of next-gen cars on track at once, with 16 in total. NASCAR's intended package will utilize 650 horsepower, but further aerodynamic devices to slow down the cars to a more reasonable speed. So obviously it's an increase in horsepower, but it's a increase in drag along with it to hopefully slow down the cars. Again, that's what the purpose of testing is, including rubber wickers on the front fenders. Those are 1-inch tall rubber just pieces literally that are riveted onto the front fenders of the vehicle to slow it down and apply more front-end downforce drag, obviously, to slow the vehicle down as it cuts through the air. Those wickers have been seen on NASCAR Camping World trucks this season. In certain races, it's produced very effective drafting-style racing, even with unrestricted trucks, as we've seen at Texas World Speedway and Michigan this season. Goal speeds are to have the cars running at 186 to 192 miles an hour in the draft, unlike the current speeds that we saw at Talladega in the spring, which neared 200-plus miles an hour. NASCAR will be utilizing a similar package with rubber wickers on the front end as well for the Coke Zero Sugar 400, Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan, Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, and postseason Budweiser Shootout at Texas World Speedway on the Generation 6 cars to finish out the season as well. NASCAR also has removed the 1-inch 90-degree lip on top of the spoiler. That is no more. The intention for both the Generation 6 car, which will be, obviously finishing out its final season, and the next generation car for next season is to have an 8-inch spoiler. Obviously straight up and down spoiler angled at 70 degrees on the super speedways, matching the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, as NASCAR has been impressed with the Truck Series Super Speedway package, which is, I guess you could say, a little bit less convoluted than the Cup Series package, and it seems to have produced slightly better racing this year, so they're trying to model the Cup Series Super Speedway racing off of what we see on the Camping World Truck Series side. That's why they're trying to match their horsepower and downforce ratios from both series. And so after those huge announcements, which are certainly going to shape the future of our entire sport, let's get back to the racing action itself and give you the highlights of the inaugural Myrtle Beach 200 from Myrtle Beach Speedway in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. In the race analysis, today's event, the Myrtle Beach 200 here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, will take place over the course of 200 laps around this .538-mile circuit in South Carolina, with stage number 1 ending on lap 55 and stage 2 coming to its conclusion on lap 110. This racetrack has very low banking. There is still some banking. It's not quite as low as a place like, say, New Hampshire, but it's multi-groove. You can actually run more than one racing line and make it effective here. It's about a 2-groove racetrack, so passing is possible here. It's not one of them track position type facilities. Fresh tires does matter a lot. Soft tire compound here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, so expect an awful lot of passing here in the Myrtle Beach 200. And keep in mind, this is the return of John Hunter Nemechek to that number 4 truck. You know he's going to be hungry, as he is in must-win territory and has to score the victory over the course of these next 3 races to try and make the playoffs in his first season for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the race, running the number 29 truck for Brad Keselowski Racing. Keep your eyes on him. He's got a tremendous amount of experience at this racetrack from formerly NASCAR's Busch Series, and we only have 3 races left in the regular season and a 4-man battle for the regular season championship. A lot of factors here tonight, and we could potentially see a new winner punch their ticket into the postseason here tonight. In your regular season point standings, Matt Crafton still holds the advantage above Sheldon Creed by just 21 points. Crafton's teammates Ben Rhodes and Grant Enfinger only set 25 and 27 points out of the point lead respectively, leaving a 4-man battle for the regular season championship with just 3 races remaining. Timothy Peters on back are more than 1 race outside of mathematical contention for the top spot in regular season points, but Peters currently sets 5th in points, 59 points out of the point lead. Ty Gibbs 6th, 64 points out. Ty Dillon in 7th, 65 points out. Christian Eckes and Parker Kligerman both tied, 73 points out of the point lead. Christian Eckes gets the tiebreaker with 2 wins on the season compared to Kligerman's 0 so far. And Casey Mears rounds out the top 10 in regular season points, 90 points out of the point lead. In your playoff standings, so far, Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, Christian Eckes, Austin Hill, Stuart Friesen, Sheldon Creed, Grant Enfinger, Timothy Peters, Ty Gibbs, Casey Mears, Ryan Truex, Dawson Cram, and Brennan Poole are all locked into the playoffs so far via their wins this season. Ty Dillon setting 49 points above the cutoff line. That is actually more than 1 race worth of points, so he can feel somewhat secure with that advantage above the cut line. Parker Kligerman as well is somewhat secure, a little bit less than Dillon because he's within 1 race worth of points, but Kligerman has almost 1 whole race above that cut line. He just needs a consistent finish here tonight at Myrtle Beach to potentially put more than 1 race worth of points above that top 16 line. And then you get into the real battle for that final spot on points. Austin Theriault, just 4 points above the cutoff line. He's a 2017 ARCA Menard Series titleist. Then you have the defending ARCA Menard Series champion, Brett Holmes, 4 points outside of the top 16, trying to leapfrog his way into the top 16 here tonight. Ty Majeski sets 23 points on the outside looking in. Then you have John Hunter Nemechek, who was forced to sit out of the last few races due to his altercation at the Milwaukee Mile. He has 49 points outside of the top 16. That is must-win territory for the driver of the number 4 truck, as well as for Zane Smith, being 55 points on the outside looking in 20th. Smith, the defending Rookie of the Year award winner, has to win in these last 3 races of the regular season to make the playoffs here in 2021. Starting on pole here at Myrtle Beach is Austin Hill in the 16 for Hattori Racing Enterprises. Bailey Curry will start in second for Nice Motorsports. Todd Gilliland qualified in third position. Michael Self qualified the number 25 for Rackley WAR in fourth spot. Max McLaughlin qualified in 6th position. 51 truck of Corey Heim will start from 7th position. Championship contender Sheldon Creed will start in 10th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. making his first career Camping World Truck Series start qualified in 11th position. Jake Finch qualified the 5 truck for Phoenix Racing in 13th spot. The 15 truck of Tanner Gray qualified in 14th position. Point leader Matt Crafton will roll off in 16th spot. 99 truck of Ben Rhodes will start from the 18th position. 14 of Sam Mayer will start in 19th. The 4 truck of John Hunter Nemechek will roll off in 20th. The 17 truck of Bubba Pollard will start from the 23rd position. The 8 truck of Camden Murphy will start in 24th spot. The 98 of Grant Enfinger will roll off from 28th position. The 44 of TJ Bell will start from 29th. The number 11 truck of Spencer Davis will start in 30th position. The 41 truck of Dawson Cram will start from 32nd. The number 02 of Tony Breidinger will start in 36th position. The 31 truck of Ty Dillon will start in 38th spot. Playoff contender Ty Dillon will start from 38th position. And the number 1 truck of Haley Deegan rounds out the field, starting down in 39th. The drivers who DNQ'd from the race here at Myrtle Beach Speedway include Chandler Smith in the 46 truck, Rafael Lessard in the 24. We had the number 21 of Zane Smith fail to make the race here at Myrtle Beach, and he is right in the fight for a playoff spot, so that is going to drop him even farther into must-win territory. Chase Purdy in the number 26, Brandon McReynolds in the 3, Tim Richmond in the 53, and the 13 truck of Johnny Sauter all missed the field. Very abnormal for Sauter to miss an asphalt short track race. That is his bread and butter type racetrack. And at the drop of the green flag at Myrtle Beach Speedway for the inaugural Myrtle Beach 200, pole sitter Austin Hill got the jump down to the first turn above the 45 truck of Bailey Curry. And on the inside line, the 38 truck of Todd Gilliland took up the second spot. Already made a look on the 16 truck down to turn 3, got back in line, and Austin Hill will lead the first lap of Truck Series competition at Myrtle Beach Speedway. On lap number 4, we get some dicey racing among the top 2 competitors in regular season points. Sheldon Creed on the outside, Matt Crafton on the inside. Creed tries to cut him off down into turn 3. Crafton has his nose underneath him. They almost make contact. Crafton drives by on the inside, taking the spot off of Sheldon Creed in the ongoing battle for that regular season championship. Lap number 6, Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes 3 wide beneath Stephen Parsons and Timothy Peters through turns 3 and 4, going from 9th to 7th spot in those 2 corners. Good move by Earnhardt, the 29 truck for Brad Keselowski Racing, trying to make a big splash in his only scheduled start in NASCAR competition of the season. And by lap number 9, the 88 truck of Matt Crafton has driven his way up into the top 10, while the 2 of Sheldon Creed resides down in 20th. So at this rate, it's going to be yet another big points night for Matt Crafton and that number 88 team. Then we get a battle between Todd Gilliland and Austin Hill for the top spot. Gilliland makes the move to the inside, coming out of turn number 4, side by side at the line, and Gilliland leads the lap. Down to turn number 1, moves the 16 truck up the racetrack, and Todd Gilliland takes away the race lead here at Myrtle Beach, but then coming into turn number 3, runs the corner just a little bit too deep, opens up the bottom once again for the 16 truck. Austin Hill goes side by side with him in a crossover move. Down to turn number 1. The 16 truck now tries to move the 38 up the racetrack, side by side down the back straight. And into turn number 3. Once again, the 16 truck of Austin Hill is out front here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Quick lead changes here in the Myrtle Beach 200 already, really showing off the multiple lanes you can run here. On lap 11, we get a close moment between Earnhardt Jr. and Sam Mayer. Mayer dives very deep into the corner, makes contact with the right rear quarter panel of Dale Earnhardt Jr., moves him up the racetrack, allowing Matt Crafton on the inside to go 3 wide and pick up quite a few positions with that move. Makes a little bit of contact door-to-door with the 29 of Earnhardt. And then Earnhardt overdrives turn number 1 just a little bit, allows the 14 truck to move up the racetrack once again. They almost make contact off of 2, and then Mayer forces him up the hill through 3 and 4 and takes away the spot off the number 29 truck. Mayer getting physical with his Xfinity Series boss. And while the Earnhardt battle was going on, the 16 truck moved up the racetrack just enough coming off of turn number 4 to allow the 38 truck to his inside through turns 1 and 2. And once again, Todd Gilliland finds himself as the race leader here at Myrtle Beach. And by lap 14, the number 55 truck of Ty Majeski's taken up 3rd, Jake Finch in 4th, and Corey Heim running in 5th position. And on lap 15, the racing gets very dicey between the 14 and 29 trucks of Sam Mayer and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Coming down to turn number 1, Mayer overdrives the corner just a little bit and uses Earnhardt more or less as a pick, runs him right up towards the wall. They make a little bit of door-to-door contact right there as Mayer forces him up the racetrack. But then Jesse Little makes contact with the 42 of Carson Hocevar, turning him down into the inside wall. Big hit into the inside wall. Then he hits the pit road wall, shearing the left front quarter panel off the 42 truck back into the 52 of Stewart Friesen, collects the 30 of Brendan Poole. There's the number 98 truck who's right in the thick of the points battle. He manages to miss it. More trucks coming along. You got the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed barely missing the action as well. The 41 barely getting through it, and also the 44 of TJ Bell made contact with the 30 as well. Here's a little bit of a better look at the contact with the wall that sheared the left front tire off of the 42. Right there makes contact with that wall. That's a concrete barrier that he tried to avoid. Massive amounts of damage to the 42 as well as the 52, getting up into the outside wall. Big damage on the 52 truck of Stewart Friesen. Then you also have the 12 and 75 trucks who made contact, sending the 22, 12, and 75 all up into the outside wall. Quite a few trucks involved in this accident already here at Myrtle Beach. Lap 16, every single truck hits pit road for the first time of the night. And now everyone went for just right side tires as they were trying to beat the pace car off. The 38 truck of Todd Gilliland got off in first position. Jake Finch all the way up to second spot. 55 of Majeski third. 16 of Austin Hill dropped down to fourth. And Matt Crafton all the way up into fifth. However, on another lap under caution, we have drivers such as Todd Gilliland, Ty Majeski, Matt Crafton, Bubba Pollard, and several others come down pit road to put on left sides. And the reason behind this is they were afraid that they would get beat by the pace car taking 4 tires and drop 1 lap down because of the way the pacing line was formed up. So they're pitting a second time to take on 4 tires and just top off on fuel a little bit. So the trucks that will be out front will actually only be on right side tires. So a bit of strategy here at Myrtle Beach. And so now of those who opted to stay out, your new top 5 is Jake Finch out front, the 16 of Austin Hill back up to second, 45 of Bailey Curry in third, Timothy Peters fourth, and Corey Heim rounding out your top 5. Also, the 2 trucks that dropped out of the race following that big accident through turns 3 and 4 are the number 42 of Carson Hocevar and the 52 of Stewart Friesen. Unfortunately for those 2, their day ends early. After the restart, the 31 truck of Ty Dillon makes a 3-wide move beneath Corey Heim and Timothy Peters, taking up the 4th spot. And remember that he started all the way down in 38th position, and after only just 22 laps, he's running well within the top 5. The number 45 truck of Bailey Curry has also gotten around the 16 of Austin Hill to take up the 2nd position for Nice Motorsports. And by lap number 24, the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed and 88 of Matt Crafton are once again neck and neck. Creed running 25th, Crafton down in 26th. And once again, the caution flag waves on lap number 25. The walls here make the track so narrow that any slight mistake can turn into a big accident. That's exactly what we saw here with Austin Theriault. A bit of a 4-wide scenario happens, which is what causes Theriault to get clipped by the 51 of Corey Heim. Onto the front straightaway, grass, into the inside wall, sliding across the victory lane, and then back up in front of the field, you see the 40 clips the 99 up into the 87. The 4 truck has nowhere to go and slams right in to the tailgate of the 92 truck. Then he gets hit driver's side by the 11 and 41 trucks, all piling into this. TJ Bell has to get onto the binders to miss the accident. Gets still a little bit of damage out of it. 87, 40, and 99 trucks all up into the outside wall. Trucks still trying to slow down for it, and a big mess on the front straightaway and entering turn number 1 here at Myrtle Beach. And here's the crash in real time. 51 clips the 92, hard hit into the inside wall, then slides back up in front of the field, gets hit very hard by the 4 truck of John Hunter Nemechek, who then gets slammed by the 11 and 41 trucks simultaneously. Fortunately, no one injured in this accident, but yet another big crash here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. And after that large crash down in turn number 1, we get yet another round of pit stops. Every single lead lap truck comes down. And out of the pits, the number 5 truck of Jake Finch got off in first above the 45 of Bailey Curry, 16 of Austin Hill, 31 of Ty Dillon, and 18 of Ty Gibbs. And you can tell some trucks, because they had repair damage, got very slow pit stops and were actually lapped by the pace car. So now Brendan Poole, Parker Kligerman, Casey Mears, Brett Holmes, and Tanner Gray are all 1 lap behind the race leader of Jake Finch because of slow pit stops. They got lapped by the pace car, and just to convolute this restart a little bit more, the 30, 75, and 60 trucks will restart in between the race leader and the second place runner of Bailey Curry. And so following that accident, both the number 92 and 4 trucks of Austin Terrio and John Hunter Nemechek are officially out of the race. And after the restart, on lap 33, both the 8 truck of Camden Murphy and the 38 of Todd Gilland are back down pit road, both for vibrations. So on each truck stop, the pit crew must have missed some lug nuts. Also, how about this? The 30 truck of Brendan Poole got to the inside of Jake Finch. Poole gets his lap back, and that opens up the opportunity for Bailey Curry to go for the race lead on the inside, but Finch cuts him off down into turn 3. And by lap 39, Jake Finch still could not figure out a way around the 30 truck of Brendan Poole, who was racing for his life to stay on the lead lap. And once again, that allowed the 45 truck of Bailey Curry to close the gap, gets the run coming off of turn number 2, and puts a 3-wide move on them through turns 3 and 4. Bailey Curry takes away the race lead here at Myrtle Beach on lap 40. Lap 41, Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes 3 wide beneath TJ Bell and Parker Kligerman, moving up into the 5th position. And by lap 45, Matt Kraft and Sheldon Creed once again battling for on-track positions. Creed trying to hold on to 11th, but then Austin Wayne Self goes 3 wide to the inside, mixing it up with the championship leaders. Then on lap 46, we have one of the most strange incidents, I would say, of the season at the very least, maybe in the last few seasons. As you can tell, the 18 truck of Ty Gibbs is taken up second off of the number 5 of Jake Finch. The lap truck of Casey Mears gets up to the tailgate of the other lap truck of the number 11 of Spencer Davis. Mears makes contact with the 11 truck on the front straightaway. Remember, there's the leader and there's the second place runner. So now the 60 makes additional contact with the 11, turning him up into the race leader of the 45 truck of Bailey Curry, collecting Curry up into the outside wall. All 3 of them make contact with the wall. The 18 truck of Ty Gibbs takes away the race lead in this affair as the 45 gets put up into that outside concrete retaining wall. But then Gibbs makes contact with the inside wall, trying to miss it. Then that ricochets Gibbs up into the second place runner, the 5 of Jake Finch. Now first and second carry each other up into the outside wall, and look at who squirts by on the inside to take away the race lead. That is Dale Earnhardt Jr. On the bottom of the track, taking away the race lead as Gibbs, Curry, and Finch all take each other up into the outside wall in that skirmish. The 44 of TJ Bell takes up second, who was running in 6th position before this accident even occurred, and the 7th place runner previously is now in 3rd spot. An incredible turn of events here at Myrtle Beach Speedway that has now handed Dale Earnhardt Jr. the race lead. The crowd is ecstatic, to say the very least. Here's just another angle at what actually happened. The 60 of Casey Mears obviously is trying to stay ahead of the 45, so he has to make sure he stays on the lead lap. Accidentally turns around the 11 truck of Spencer Davis, takes out the race leader up into the outside wall. Then Ty Gibbs tries to miss it, hits the inside wall himself, 5 truck is there to catch him. Up into the outside wall they both go. A lot of damage on both those trucks. Ty Dillon slows down in time to get no damage out of that. But the 29 of Earnhardt Jr. takes away the race lead here at Myrtle Beach. And take a look at who makes contact with the 18 of Ty Gibbs. Matt Crafton misses it, but the 2 of Sheldon Creed makes a little bit of contact with the 18 and slams the 5. Number 2 truck of Sheldon Creed has damage once again here at Myrtle Beach. Tough situation for this number 2 team racing for that regular season championship. And as if that lap didn't have enough drama, unrelated to the crash, the number 12 truck of Christian Eckes, his engine fails coming off of turn number 4. So Eckes is now out of the race as well. How many times that number 11 truck of Spencer Davis been a critical component of the most controversial wrecks of the year? Because him being up in front of the 60 truck slowed down Mears enough to where Mears, well, made contact with him and by proxy wrecked the entire top 4 contenders here at Myrtle Beach. That's trying maybe just a little bit too hard to stay on the lead lap, but it surely benefited Dale Earnhardt Jr. Lap 49, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets in trouble coming off of pit road. He's coming out of his stall as the 55 is coming in, and they make contact right there. A little bit of front-end damage on the 29 truck of Earnhardt and some pretty significant left-side damage on the 55, and that slows up Earnhardt's stop enough to where he comes out in 3rd with TJ Bell taking away the race lead off of pit road with a phenomenal stop. Max McLaughlin running 2nd, Earnhardt Jr. 3rd, Bubba Pollard in 4th, and Ty Dillon rounding out your top 5 for this restart with just a few laps to go in stage number 1. Lap 51 under the caution flag period, the 8 truck of Camden Murphy loses an engine as well, dropping him out of tonight's Myrtle Beach 200. And on the final restart of stage number 1, the 44 truck of TJ Bell got a phenomenal jump above the 61 of Max McLaughlin, clearing him by about 4 car lengths into the first turn with Earnhardt Jr. hounding him, and the 51 truck having to perform a fantastic save. But then coming off of turn number 2, the 99 truck of Ben Rhodes makes contact with the 45 of Bailey Curry. Curry gets turned down to the inside wall with a hard hit, spun back around in front of traffic. Then there's almost nowhere to go for Haley Deegan, Ryan Truex, Stephen Parsons, the 40 of Will Rogers involved in this, the 30 as well. Jake Finch gets more damage in this. Tony Breidinger manages to get slowed down in time. Tanner Gray has almost nowhere to go. Spencer Davis once again involved in trouble. The caution flag comes out again as cautions breed cautions here at Myrtle Beach. Racing back to the flag for the stage number 1 victory, TJ Bell holds the race lead and beats out Dale Earnhardt Jr., who takes up 2nd for the stage number 1 victory. Bell is your stage 1 winner. Earnhardt Jr. 2nd, Max McLaughlin 3rd, Ty Dillon in 4th, and Bubba Pollard rounding out your top 5 after already a bit of a wreck fest here in the Myrtle Beach 200. And following that accident, 2 Nice Motorsports trucks are now out of the race, those being Will Rogers and the 45 of Bailey Curry. Curry had a very strong truck. It's unfortunate to see his race end early, and the 30 of Brennan Poole is also now out of the race as well. And after the restart, the number 61 of Max McLaughlin gets a great drive down into turn number 3, gets underneath the 29 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Side by side for 2nd, but then into the first turn, the 44 truck leaves a little bit of room, and he fills that space, almost hits him up the racetrack. 44 chases it up the hill, and the 61 takes away the race lead as the caution flag waves once again. We also had the 31 truck of Ty Dillon go 3 wide on the inside, make a good run on the 61 truck back to the stripe, but comes up short, running in 2nd. Remember that he started 38th and is already up to 2nd spot. And here's why the caution flag came out on lap 60. 14 truck of Sam Mayer makes contact with the 09 of Stephen Parsons coming off of turn number 4, sent him around on the front straightaway right over the victory lane area, but fortunately no further trucks were involved in that accident. And right after the green flag comes out once again, the 44 truck makes contact with the 17 coming off of turn number 2. Almost turns it down to the inside wall, but Pollard does a great job at catching that truck. Then we have a battle for the race lead back to the start-finish line. The 31 truck takes away the race lead. Down on the inside, we have Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking up 2nd in the 29 truck for Brad Keselowski Racing. Right there, Bell forces the 17 up the hill and will take up 4th. And at the end of lap 67, Earnhardt Jr. gets back to the inside of the 31. Side by side at the line and at the stripe. scoring will give that lap to the number 31 of Ty Dillon, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. is back out front here at Myrtle Beach, clearing Ty Dillon down the back straight. Lap 69, Matt Crafton gets aggressive coming off of turn number 4, makes contact door-to-door with the 17 of Bubba Pollard, trying to carve his way towards the front. Lap 70, the caution flag comes out once again. You can tell this track is very narrow coming off of turn 2, and it bites the 51 of Corey Heim, as the 16 of Austin Hill makes contact with him, sends him hard into the inside wall, back up in front of the field, just barely gets clipped right there by the 14, but then slammed by the 33 of Ryan Truex, 87 of Timothy Peters, and 2 of Sheldon Creed, who's right there in the thick of the points battle. All get involved in this one. The 51 truck of Corey Heim is definitely out of the race now. Lap 70, we get some pit strategy going on. Drivers such as Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ben Rhodes, Austin Wayne Self, Matt Crafton, and several others hit the pits, with your new top 3 being Max McLaughlin, TJ Bell, and Ty Dillon. Lap 76, race leader Max McLaughlin moves up the racetrack just a little bit through turns 3 and 4, lets the 44 get side by side with him, and through turns 1 and 2, TJ Bell is now out front here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, as there's a 3-wide move for third being made by Michael Self in the 25. Lap 79, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets down to the inside of Sam Mayer and Grant Enfinger. Gets around both of them as Enfinger gets up into the outside wall. A lot of right side damage now on that 98 truck. Earnhardt Jr. into 4th position, and the 25 is taken up second. Michael Self now on a mission here at Myrtle Beach. On lap 80, Dale Earnhardt Jr. makes exactly the mistake that he said that he did not want to make here at Myrtle Beach. He said he did not want to mess with the points battle whatsoever, but coming off of turn number 2, he makes contact with the 61 of Max McLaughlin, turns McLaughlin into the inside wall. He then slides up and catches both the 29 and 88 trucks of Matt Crafton and Dale Earnhardt Jr. All 3 of them head hard up into the outside wall. Crafton, your point leader, involved with quite a bit of damage on that 88 truck. 29 gets turned around, grabs a gear and gets back going. 88 truck of Matt Crafton never really slowed down, but then the 1 truck of Haley Deegan slams into the 61 of Max McLaughlin, knocking McLaughlin and Deegan both out of the race. The number 17 of Bubba Pollard also got quite a bit of damage out of this as well, but it looks repairable. An unfortunate story, especially for the number 88 team of Matt Crafton, getting damaged, but I guess you could say that will level the playing field between him and Sheldon Creed, as Creed is now 1 lap down from the damage he got earlier. Matt Crafton might just drop down a lap from this much damage on that number 88 machine. And so here's the crash in real time. 29, Earnhardt Jr. makes contact with the 61 into the inside wall, back up in front of the field. Hard impacts for all 3 trucks, but mainly for the 61 of Max McLaughlin, as he is now out of tonight's race, as well as the 1 truck of Haley Deegan. Lap 82, we once again get a pit strategy split with the 44, 25, 31, and several others down pit road. And so now your new front runners, after some of the leaders have hit the pits, is Ben Rhodes out front above the 14 of Sam Mayer, 22 of Austin Wayne Self, 18 of Ty Gibbs, who's managed to race his way back towards the front of the field after getting involved in that accident earlier on, and the 41 of Dawson Cram, who is as well involved in an earlier crash. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that number 29 truck, as you can tell, he's missing his rear bumper cover now due to damage repair. He actually still sets in 8th position, so really not that much track time lost due to that big of an accident, but he did manage to wreck out both the 1 and 61 trucks and potentially hurt Matt Crafton's bid at the regular season championship. Lap 86 after the restart into the first turn, the 22 truck of Austin Wayne Self gets a good jump on the 14, goes side by side for the 2nd spot, and Austin Wayne Self has taken away the 2nd position off the 14 of Sam Mayer. But it didn't take long for the damaged number 18 truck of Ty Gibbs to get to the inside of the 22, move Austin Wayne Self up the racetrack just a little bit, and Ty Gibbs now takes away the 2nd position, trying to run down the 99 of Ben Rhodes, but Wayne Self makes the crossover move and goes back into 2nd position. Austin Wayne Self getting a great run in that number 22 truck for AM Racing here tonight. On lap 87, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was not done with controversy for the night. Makes contact with the 09 truck of Stephen Parsons, turns him around on the front straightaway into the inside wall. across the victory lane once again and slides up into the 98 of Grant Enfinger and the 31 of Ty Dillon. Huge hit up into the outside wall for Dillon. Gets up onto just two wheels. The 98 truck of Enfinger managed to save it. Two truck got up into the outside wall as well, but the caution flag comes out once again. A lot of damage on the 31 and 09 trucks of Ty Dillon and Stephen Parsons. So by the way, now the number 88 truck of Matt Crafton is scored as 2 laps down following all the damage repairs that they had to perform on his Thor Sport Toyota Tundra. The number 2 truck of Sheldon Creed is just 1 lap down, so he is a lap ahead of Matt Crafton and runs in 21st position. So right now, the driver that will gain the most points will be Ben Rhodes, who is in mathematical contention for the regular season championship. So this is actually going to be a huge night for both Rhodes and Grant Enfinger if they can stay in it. Lap 95, Ty Gibbs gets back to the inside, the 22 of Austin Wayne Self, and finally completely clears him for the second position. Tony Breidinger running towards the front, however, she is 1 lap down, still showing great pace here in the 02 truck for Young's Motorsports. Lap 99, Ty Gibbs gets to the bottom of Ben Rhodes into turn number 1, tries to use him up just a little bit, forces him up the racetrack. Side by side down the back straightaway. Now through 3 and 4 as Earnhardt Jr. gets turned around. Caution flag is back out as Ty Gibbs takes away the race lead coming off of turn number 4. Lap 99, Earnhardt Jr. gets put into the middle between Austin Wayne Self and Ty Majeski. Tries to cut down in front of the 55 of Majeski. And Majeski makes contact with that left rear quarter panel, sending Earnhardt around on the back straightaway, bringing out yet another caution flag. On lap 100, most of the race leaders opt to come down pit road. However, TJ Bell, Jesse Little, and Dawson Cram will opt to stay out and assume the top 3 positions. And the green flag comes out with just a few laps to go in stage number 1. The 44 truck gets a great jump above the 97 of Jesse Little, but then Little gets hit by the 88 of Matt Crafton coming off of turn number 2 and gets sent around on the back straightaway. Crafton then up into the 99. The 18 of Ty Gibbs makes contact with the 09 of Stephen Parsons as the caution flag comes out. The moment the green came out, the point leader back in trouble. As you see Earnhardt Jr. pass by, he's still in the race 1 lap down. And so with that caution flag, TJ Bell has now swept both stages here at Myrtle Beach. This will end stage 2. Bell is your stage 2 winner above Dawson Cram 2nd, Ben Rhodes 3rd, Austin Hill in 4th, and Grant Enfinger in 5th. Very impressive strategy by TJ Bell's team so far. Keep that 44 truck out front when it counts. And if you're wondering, well, why was Matt Crafton racing that hard with a truck that's on the lead lap? Remember, Crafton's trying to get around that 44 truck to have a shot at getting one of his at least 2 laps back to try and contend with the number 2 truck of Sheldon Creed, because he's racing for that regular season point championship and try and get as much as he possibly can. But Crafton, once again, winds up in trouble. Unfortunately, is still running. And on this pit cycle, all the trucks that opted to stay out for track position to the end of stage number 2 come down pit road this time by, with now your race leader being the number 99 truck of Ben Rhodes for Thor Sport Racing. Second position has been taken by your pole sitter, Austin Hill, and third by Sam Mayer. Once again, the field gets shuffled up as we head on to our final stage here at Myrtle Beach. 25 trucks still run here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and 11 are on the lead lap. It's definitely been a race of attrition here in the inaugural Myrtle Beach 200. Lap 111. The 16 truck of Austin Hill makes the move through turns 3 and 4, getting around the 99 of Ben Rhodes, and your pole sitter is back out front. Then on lap 112, we once again have more drivers desperate to get back onto the lead lap, and this time it bites Ben Rhodes as the lap truck of Parker Kligerman makes contact with the second place runner of Rhodes. This wreck almost mirrors the one between Spencer Davis and Casey Mears. Rhodes tries to save it, makes contact once again with the 75 truck, and he gets turned very hard up into the outside wall. A lot of damage on that 99 of Ben Rhodes. Tony Breidinger got involved in it as well, and the second place runner gets wrecked out here at Myrtle Beach. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. could not avoid the number 99 truck of Ben Rhodes, makes contact with the front end of the 99. That's the 4th crash that Earnhardt Jr. has been involved in over the course of the night, and this is the one that ends his race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ben Rhodes are now out of the Myrtle Beach 200. And on lap 114, we once again have the leaders come down, including Austin Hill and Bubba Pollard. And of those who opted to stay out, your top three is now Sam Mayer, Austin Wayne Self, and the 98 truck of Grant Enfinger, who is running for that regular season championship. Keep your eyes on the 44 truck of TJ Bell, who has swept the first two stages. He might try and drive his way right towards the front on this restart, because he has a legitimate shot at taking home his first career Camping World Truck Series victory. Lap 119, we get some dicey racing for the lead. 22 and 14 trucks make contact. Then the 22 tries to get down to the inside. The 14 gets hit into the rear bumper by the 98 of Grant Enfinger. 14 moves up the hill as the 44 of TJ Bell tries to go three wide, thought better of it, and Austin Wayne Self is now your race leader here at Myrtle Beach. Then Bell tries once again to go three wide to the inside, makes a little bit of contact with the 98 to move him up the racetrack. Now to third, and is going to try and take second through 3 and 4 here. Try and get side by side with the 98, and now he holds position. TJ Bell now back into second. Lap 123, Austin Wayne Self gets held up in lap traffic, allowing the 44 of TJ Bell to take away the race lead down the back straightaway. Bell, driving that unsponsored truck for Nice Motorsports, goes to the race lead, as Austin Wayne Self still dropping back, being hounded by lap traffic. But then on lap 125, Brett Holmes gets to battling with the race leader of TJ Bell, allowing the 14 of Sam Mayer to close the gap. Then he makes the move through turns 3 and 4. Sam Mayer back out front here at Myrtle Beach Speedway, trying to take home his second career NASCAR Camping World Truck Series victory after winning at Bristol last season. Doesn't take Bell long to find his way back to the lead. Lap 128, he makes the move down to the inside, moves the 14 truck up the racetrack, and TJ Bell finds himself back into first position. But then Bell moves up the racetrack just a little bit, gives the 98 truck of Grant Enfinger the opportunity to go to the bottom, and Enfinger takes away the race lead. And remember, Enfinger is going for as many points as he can possibly score to potentially close that gap up to his teammate Matt Craft in regular season points down to just about 10. But then Enfinger overdrives turn 3 and allows Bell back to the bottom. TJ Bell, once again, back out front. Lap 135, the 98 truck of Grant Enfinger gets back down to the inside of the 44 of TJ Bell. A remarkable battle between these two. Down to turn number 3, Bell actually makes contact with the 98 truck coming into the corner, almost turns them both around. They both drive up the hill, and that opens up the opportunity for Austin Wayne Self to battle Bell for second position. Enfinger back out front. On lap 138, we once again see desperation out of trucks that reside one lap down. We have Majeski, Brett Holmes, and Michael Self all right up in front of the 98 truck of Enfinger. 23 of Holmes makes contact with the 09 of Stephen Parsons down into the inside wall, bringing out the caution flag once again right in front of the leaders. TJ Bell does a very good job to avoid him. This is not the first wreck that Parsons been involved in over the course of the night, but all the leaders get up into the outside wall. Enfinger and Bell ride across it, and you can see Majeski, Michael Self, and Brett Holmes are now all back onto the lead lap. Tanner Gray almost got his lap back as well, but is still just barely one lap down, so now you can throw the 23, 25, and 55 trucks back into the mix with a shot at the victory with so few trucks on the lead lap. Here's the onboard of Dawson Cram in the number 41 truck. He got the 09 of Stephen Parsons right up in front of him. Has nowhere to go. Makes contact with the 09 truck, and Dawson Cram is now out of the race as well. And on lap 139, all the lead lap trucks come down pit road for what could potentially be their final stop. First truck out of the pits was TJ Bell above Austin Wayne Self, Grant Enfinger, Sam Mayer, and Bubba Pollard. The number 5 truck of Jake Finch suffered an engine failure under the caution flag period. He is now out of the race as well. This has definitely been a race of attrition here at Myrtle Beach, whether it be getting caught up in a crash or simply mechanical trouble. Lap 146, the 98 truck of Grant Enfinger puts the bumper to the 22 of Austin Wayne Self and takes up the second position once again. TJ Bell still out front by about 0.4 of a second. And by the way, you want to know why it was so important to the 55, 23, and 25 trucks get back on the lead lap? Well, now they run 6th, 7th, and 8th. respectively. But now the 55 truck will drop down to 9th, but still a massive improvement over where they were going to finish if they would not have passed the leader. Lap 151, Bubba Pollard makes the move to the inside of the 98 of Grant Enfinger. Those two have some history stretching back to Indianapolis Raceway Park. However, they raced it clean, and Pollard now to second spot. Lap 155, the caution flag waves as the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed suffers an engine failure down the back straightaway. Dumps oil essentially all over the racetrack. The yellow flag waves, and an unfortunate break for this number 2 team. Multiple engine failures this season have cost them dearly. This is still going to be a good points night for Matt Crafton above that number 2 truck, as long as Crafton can finish the race. Lap 163 after the restart, Austin Hill forces Austin Wayne Self up the racetrack, and Ty Majeski takes advantage of it, going 3 wide to the bottom and moving all the way up into 4th position. And through turns 3 and 4, the 44 truck slips up the racetrack, allowing Bubba Pollard to the inside. Side by side at the line, Pollard will lead the lap. Now through 1 and 2, still trying to force him up the hill. Pollard is going to clear him down the back straightaway. We'll see his entry down to turn 3. And he moves up the hill just a little bit. Bell back down to the bottom. Side by side again at the line. Pollard leads the lap. But through turns 1 and 2, TJ Bell will once again take away the race lead here at Myrtle Beach. Lap 166 though, Bubba Pollard puts his nose once again underneath the 44 mid-corner. Gets side by side with him again coming off of turn 4. A little bit of contact right there. Into the first turn, still trying to use him up. And Pollard is back out front. Grant Enfinger patiently waiting, hoping these two make a mistake while leading the field. Lap 173, 23 truck of Brett Holmes gets down to the inside of the 98 of Grant Enfinger, moves him up the hill, and takes up the 3rd position. Brett Holmes having himself a fantastic points night and could potentially take home the victory here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Lap 175, TJ Bell turns just beneath the 17, little bit of side-by-side contact down the front straight. Through turns 1 and 2, trying to force them wide, and TJ Bell takes away the race lead here at Myrtle Beach with just 25 laps to go. Now we're going to have a battle for second between Bubba Pollard and Brett Holmes. 3 trucks with a great shot at the victory here tonight, but Holmes is the only one of these 3 that can punch his ticket into the playoffs here in the Myrtle Beach 200 if he takes home the victory. Lap 178, Brett Holmes gets to the bottom of the 17 of Bubba Pollard, taking away the 2nd spot through turns 3 and 4. Now he just has his sights set on the race leader of TJ Bell. And by lap 184, the top 3 are separated by less than half a second, all with a legitimate shot at taking home the victory in this inaugural event as the 44 truck moves up the racetrack just barely. By lap 191, the 44 truck had started to gap the 2nd and 3rd place runners by about 0.4 of a second, but he has lap traffic right up in front of him. Spencer Davis makes the move down to the inside and makes the pass work cleanly. TJ Bell has less than 10 laps to go to try and take home his first career NASCAR Camping World Truck Series victory. Lap 198, TJ Bell has even denser lap traffic up in front of him. 97 of Jesse Little, 88 of Matt Crafton, and in front of that, the 31 of Ty Dillon with just 2 laps to go. Makes the move to the inside of the 97, as the gap back to second is now 0.7 between the 23 and 44. As the tires have begun to severely degrade towards the end of this run. He has cleared the 97, now just has to deal with the 88 of Crafton. White flag is out for TJ Bell here at Myrtle Beach. Makes the move to the inside of Crafton cleanly as well. The 23 has closed the gap just barely, but it is not going to be enough. Down the back straightaway for the final time and into the final corners. And this is 19 years in the making for TJ Bell since his first career start in 2003. Bell wins it at Myrtle Beach for the inaugural Myrtle Beach 200. TJ Bell has waited 19 years for this moment. Bell is now a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series winner. And he did it in style too. He avoided all the wrecks, this race of attrition, comes out on top with even good pit strategy. They won all 3 stages, and finally, TJ Bell is a Camping World Truck Series winner. How about that performance out of Nice Motorsports? The 23 truck of Brett Holmes picks up a close second-place finish. 17 of Bubba Pollard does another great job, finishing in third. Ty Majeski gets the exact points night he needed as well, finishing in fourth position. And the 25 of Michael Self in fifth. Great performances by a lot of teams that needed it, but especially for TJ Bell, picking up his first career Camping World Truck Series victory after 19 years of trying. And so how about this for TJ Bell? This is only his second career top 5 finish in the Camping World Truck Series. He finished 5th at Auto Club Speedway back in 2009 for Red Horse Racing. But he scores the victory here at Myrtle Beach, surviving all the chaos of this inaugural event. The first win for Nice Motorsports of the season, by the way, bit of a surprise there. But take a look at your regular season point standings. Matt Crafton still holds the advantage, of course, Mr. Consistency on top. But Grant Enfinger picked up 2 spots in points with his top 5 finish here at Myrtle Beach, moving up to second position in regular season points, just 15 points away from his teammate Matt Crafton with 2 races left in the regular season. Sheldon Creed dropped down a spot with his tough night and DNF due to an engine failure late in the race. He is now third in regular season points, 22 points out of the point lead. Ben Rhodes drops down 1 spot as well to fourth, 31 points out. So still 4 contenders within mathematical contention of winning the regular season championship with just 2 races left. These next 2 races at Daytona Beach and Daytona International Speedway are certainly going to be barn burners. Ty Dillon sets outside of mathematical contention for the regular season championship, but in these next 2 races he could theoretically get near at least the top spot. I don't think he'll be able to do it, but if he, say, wins at both Daytonas, he might be able to pull something off. Ty Dillon, though, picked up 2 spots at Myrtle Beach, now to 5th position in regular season points, 57 points out of the lead. Timothy Peters dropped down to 6th. He has 58 points out of the point lead. Parker Kligerman picked up 2 spots in points, now to 7th. He has 70 points outside of the point lead. Ty Gibbs dropped down 2 spots to 8th position. He is now 72 points out of the point lead. Christian Eckes dropped down 1 spot with his blown engine, now to 9th, 90 points out of the point lead. And Brett Holmes, with his runner-up finish, picks up 4 spots in points, now to 10th in the regular season point standings, 98 points out of the point lead. And your playoff standings, TJ Bell obviously has not been running the full season, and he is outside the top 30, so that's why he is not locked in with this victory. But Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, Christian Eckes, Austin Hill, Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger, Sheldon Creed, Timothy Peters, Ty Gibbs, Casey Mears, Ryan Truex, Dawson Cram, and Brennan Poole are all the drivers so far locked into the playoffs via their wins this season. It looks like we will have 1 driver make it in through points because there's just 2 races left, 13 drivers locked in. That means at max we could have 15 drivers locked in through wins. 1 driver will make it in on points alone, so that will make for a very interesting battle if we do get, in fact, 2 unique winners. I doubt that we will, but it's still a possibility. Ty Dillon currently sets best of the rest, 62 points above the cutoff line. That's a full race. And Parker Kligerman as well now has a full race above that cut line, setting 15th in playoff standings, being 49 points above. That's pretty secure as well. Brett Holmes sets right on that cutoff line now. He raced his way in. He's 21 points above the cut after finishing second here at Myrtle Beach. Ty Majeski is now 21 points on the outside looking in. A little bit of points gained on that cut line as well here at Myrtle Beach, but he's still on the outside looking in. Austin Theriault is now 30 points on the outside looking in. Remember, he came into this race above that cut line. John Hunter Nemechek, after his DNF here at Myrtle Beach, is even farther into must-win territory, 79 points out. He has to win at either Daytona Beach or Daytona International Speedway to make the playoffs in 2021. And Zane Smith is now 86 points out of making the top 16 following the Myrtle Beach 200. He absolutely has to win at either Daytona Beach or Daytona International Speedway. And so now we move on to my personal favorite segment of Post Tech, Q&A. Hello everyone, welcome back to Post Tech, and before I get straight into the questions, I gotta give you the disclaimer. If I mispronounce any names or handles, I do apologize, but it's bound to happen. Question number 1 from NASCAR fan 88 Official. Could we see some truck teams go full-time Cup racing like Nice, Thorsport, or Hattori in the next couple of years if some other teams leave Cup? So we already had Hattori move up to Cup last year, at the beginning of this year and the last year when they bought out Extreme Concepts Incorporated. Obviously, they haven't had too much success this year, but the highlight was their victory at Road America. So Hattori has already kind of established themselves as being a contender once we get into this next-gen car. This was just a building year using mostly old equipment from Joe Gibbs Racing that was then passed to Extreme Concepts that has now been passed to Hattori. So I expect next season to produce bigger things for Hattori Racing Enterprises. ThorSport has that partnership with NY Racing to field a NASCAR Cup Series car part-time. They did that a couple races this season with Johnny Sauter. I expect a part-time run next year in a couple races with Eric Amarola if they do in fact sign him for a Truck Series program, because that looks to be the most likely candidate to replace Sauter in the number 13 truck. So I would put my money on ThorSport going through NY Racing to give Eric Amarola a couple Cup Series starts next season. And Nice Motorsports wants to build up to the Cup Series with at least one of their drivers, likely Carson Hocevar, to take him up to the Cup level. So I would expect with this next car coming in, Nice Motorsports will likely put in an effort to put together a full-time Cup Series program in the next, 3 to 5 years. So all three of those teams definitely have a future in the Cup Series. ThorSport through NY, Hattori's already there, and Nice is looking at the possibility of doing it. But I'd say that all three will have a future in the Cup Series, either part-time or full-time basis. Next question from the Alex Mill. There have been rumors of a Toyota Truck Series team looking to go to Cup next season. Is there any word on who they may be and who would drive for them? So, not too many rumors have come out as of yet. But let's just say this. We got a bit of a scoop on a story that it might just be a certain team that owns a number 51 in the Truck Series, and it might be their brother to run a full-time Cup Series car next season, because they think that it might be a shot of giving him a second championship. So I'll just leave it at that. I think you know what I'm talking about, but that's been the rumor for next season. It could be a very, very important rumor as well. Next question from Switchblade. There are rumors about a 2311 and FRM buyout or merger. What drivers could potentially be signed to that organization next season? So I somewhat doubt that rumor coming to fruition because of those critical philosophical differences that Tony Stewart was talking about with Gene Haas. Stewart's obviously a Chevrolet man. Gene Haas, kind of persuaded the team to become a full Ford performance operation. Denny Hamlin is a very passionate Toyota, user. Bob Jenkins certainly loves his Fords. So if it was a full partnership, kind of like a Stewart-Haas situation, there'd be disagreements. If one of them bought out the other, that would obviously be easy. But right now, FRM is a lot stronger than 2311 as an organization. 2311 kind of, struggles to miss races. They had a shot at winning with their second car at Bristol with Stuart Friesen, but that's simply because Friesen is, of the modern era, the best driver on dirt in NASCAR. Only one with 3 wins on dirt, and he's won at every single dirt track that the Truck Series has taken on. Bristol, Knoxville, Eldora, he's won at all 3. So that's why they came so close to winning with Stuart Friesen as their driver. It's just how good he is, made their equipment look good along with it. But remember that Bubba Wallace missed the field in that race, so it still showed their struggles as an organization. FRM, on the other hand, has won a race this season with Anthony Alfredo at Sonoma Raceway. Phenomenal performance he put on there, holding off Martin Truex Jr. Michael McDowell's been running consistent as well, and he won last season, the second to last race of the year at Talladega. So I'd say that FRM is in a very stable position right now, being a Ford Performance, Roush affiliate. They work as well with, LGR, Kyle Larson and David Gilliland's team. They're pretty stable and well within the Ford camp right now. And, with Ford losing half of Stewart-Haas, I'd say they'd probably put more emphasis into teams such as FRM and Roush. So it would be a good deal for FRM to kind of stay separated from 2311. And what 2311's plans are for next season, not exactly sure. They seem to want to keep Bubba Wallace, and that would make an awful lot of sense. He brings a lot of sponsorship to the program and has ran good off and on the last few seasons. The inconsistency is normally the whole team that he's running with. Equipment is never there for him either. So what drivers could potentially be signed to a merger next year if that does in fact happen? Probably Wallace and McDowell. I think those two are the ones that they'd want. McDowell gives you a lot of experience. He's a winner as well. Bubba gives you that new energy of a driver that you can build up and work with for 10, 15 years. So I think that's what they'd want if they do in fact merge. Because likely that would just be a situation where they try to merge the best aspects of the teams as you'd always want to, But I don't expect that type of situation happening next season. It just doesn't look like 2311 is in the position to merge with a team such as FRM next season. Next question from RFJ. Will the NASCAR Cup Series race in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum next season or any stadium? So I somewhat doubt it. Obviously, we have, in the California markets, we have Auto Club Speedway. We also have Sonoma Raceway, which are going to be on the schedule next season. So that market's kind of taken already when you think about it, just that whole state, getting NASCAR races there. But I think NASCAR is more focused on running a traditional street race like you'd see in an IMSA or an IndyCar type competition. They want a traditional street race rather than something like a Coliseum race like they used to at that Coliseum when they ran the Southwest Tour there. I don't think that's exactly something they want to do. If they could, they'd probably get that Nashville street circuit on the Cup Series schedule if they really went after a street circuit. So I don't think we're going to see something like a Coliseum race next season. I just doubt that happening again. But the California market's going to stay stable with Auto Club Speedway. It's being repaved as we speak, by the way. And Sonoma Raceway, that track ain't going anywhere either. So I would say that the odds of an LA Coliseum race next year are very low at the current moment, and Coliseum racing, stadium racing, that type of thing. But do expect the street circuit as NASCAR continues to push after that particular type of racetrack. Next question from NASCAR Fan 88 Official as well. Could at any point 2311 run a part-time car for one-off appearances, such as a veteran returning for a race or a rookie who wants to run a cup race? So they ran Stewart Friesen at the Bristol Dirt Track. That worked perfectly. It almost ended up getting them into victory lane for the first time as a team. Obviously, they got into trouble with Christopher Bell that ended up knocking Stewart Friesen out of contention. So I definitely could see 2311 wanting to run a second car for just a few races to kind of evaluate their equipment a little bit. Obviously, one of the top candidates would be Greg Biffle because of the success that he's experienced over the last few years with teams such as Joe Gibbs Racing when he substituted at Chicago last year for Kyle Busch, and also Gaunt Brothers this year when they, ran him in the 69 car for a couple races. Odds are he might get a couple more races to end the season during the playoffs in that car as well. Looks like he's scheduled to run at least a championship race because he's been primarily wanting to focus on either, the big races like the 500 and the 600 or mile and a halfs in general because those are some of his favorite racetracks. So it looks like Greg Biffle could be a good candidate, good Toyota driver to run likely the 45 because they ran that for Stewart Friesen earlier this season. So if they wanted, a veteran to evaluate their equipment, I'm pretty sure they'd go with Biffle. If they wanted a younger driver, not necessarily a rookie, they'd probably go with John Hunter Nemechek. They've been eyeballing him at least for a while now. It looks like his, run with KBM might be coming to an end because of how much they've struggled this season, but I still think that Denny Hamlin holds out some hope that John Hunter Nemechek might bring something to the table. He will bring sponsorship, and also Daniel Hemrick is a potential candidate for a second 2311 car. Follow up to that first question as well, what other teams are likely to run a part-time car if they haven't already? Quite a few teams are looking to run a part-time car at least next season. We know that very well because of the next-gen car. All the rule changes. Looks like NASCAR might be getting rid of the 4-car limit. So we'll see teams like probably even Hendrick running a part-time car as well. Right now, currently, I'd say just GMS and Gaunt Brothers are going to be the teams that you'll see run a secondary part-time car. We've heard the rumors about Tommy Baldwin Racing potentially bringing out a second car to get Josh Berry in a cup race, stuff like that. Not exactly the big teams. We do have Chip Ganassi Racing who runs their part-time car for Jimmy Johnson, but beyond that, I don't think we're going to see too many more part-time cars to end the season, but obviously it's a very dynamic situation and things can change from here to the final race of the year at Atlanta. Next question, and final question from RFJ. Will Bubba Wallace still be with 2311 with their recent struggles this season, or would a guy like Kurt Busch take over? So I do expect Bubba Wallace to come back next year. He brings a lot of sponsorship to the table, a lot of energy to the team. Kurt Busch, I don't think wants to go to 2311 because he wants a shot at another championship to at least end his career. I don't believe that 2311 has exactly the capability of running for a championship next season because next year will be kind of their building up year. So I don't think that's exactly what Kurt Busch wants to be in the position of, is building up a team that, in a way, is running somewhat dysfunctionally right now with Bubba Wallace. But I do expect Bubba to come back next year. The team's going to try and focus on that next-gen car and try to run up front. But I do not think that Kurt Busch will be there. Wallace will still be in the 23 car next season. And so, folks, that does it for episode number 20 of Post Tech. We hope that you have enjoyed it. The next time you'll be seeing us, we'll be back on the sands of Daytona Beach. The Camping World Truck Series take on the Daytona Beach and Road Course for the first time in that series' history, returning to NASCAR's roots out in Ponce Inlet on the sands of Daytona. 4.2-mile circuit. Each straightaway is 2 miles, and the turns just a tenth of a mile. It should produce both dirt-style racing and super speedway racing at the same time, unlike anything we've seen in modern NASCAR history. It's going to be a must-watch as well, as the Camping World Truck Series now just have 2 races left in the regular season, 4 contenders for the regular season championship. It's going to be an absolutely amazing event in the Sunoco 160 at the Daytona Beach and Road Course. Be there.